this video we are going to discuss about the book called Atomic Habits. Baseball was a major part in the author's life, but suddenly everything turned upside down. When author was on his final days of his sophomore year of high school, he was hit in the face with a baseball bat, striking directly between the eyes. The bat smashed into his face with such force that it crushed his nose into a distorted U shape. The collision sent the soft tissue of his brain slamming into the inside of his skull. Immediately, a wave of swelling surged throughout his head. In a fraction of a second, he had a broken nose, multiple skull fractures, and 2 shattered eye sockets. Author struggled with basic functions like swallowing and breathing. Author got admitted into the hospital and was put into a medically induced coma and placed on a ventilator. After he got discharged from the hospital, he returned home with a broken nose, half a dozen facial fractures, and a bulging left eye. The following months were hard. Life was not easy for him after that point. Depression shadowed him, but author did not lose hope. The turning point came 2 years after of the injury, when he began college at Denison University. It was a new beginning, and it was the place where author would discover the surprising power of small habits for the first time. Author focused on getting his life in order. While his peers stayed up late and played video games, he built good sleep habits and went to bed early each night. In the messy world of a college dorm, he made a point to keep his room neat and tidy. These improvements were minor, but they gave author a sense of control over his life. And this growing belief in himself rippled into the classroom as he improved his study habits and managed to earn straight A's during his first year. A habit is a routine or behavior that is performed regularly, and, in many cases, automatically. As each semester passed, he accumulated small but consistent habits that ultimately led to results that were unimaginable. By his junior year, he was voted team captain, and at the end of the season, he was selected for the all-conference team. Author was selected as the top male athlete at Denison University and named to the ESPN Academic All-America team, an honor given to just 33 players across the country. By the time author graduated, he was listed in the school record books in 8 different categories. That same year, he was awarded the university's highest academic honor, the President's Medal. We all face challenges in life. This injury was one of the worst-case scenarios in the author's life, but the experience taught him a critical lesson. Changes that seem small and unimportant at first will compound into remarkable results if you're willing to stick with them for years. Too often, we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action. But there is a rule called 80-20 rule, which means that 80% of your success comes from 20% of your actions. So important things are atomic but produces huge game-changing results. Researchers estimate that 40 to 50% of our actions on any given day are done out of habit. This is already a substantial percentage, but the true influence of your habits is even greater than these numbers suggest. Habits are automatic choices that influence the conscious decisions that follow. Author explains this by a fork-like graph which shows that by our habits and choices we can turn our day into either bad or good. So to become a better version of yourself who is self-confident, disciplined, workaholic, build your habits and try to be 1% better every day. And by the end of the year you will be 37 times better than when you started. But habits are a double-edged sword. They can work for you or against you, which is why understanding the details is essential. So that brings us to next point, what author calls as the fundamentals. The fundamentals. First, we will lay the groundwork. If we understand the underlying fundamentals of habits, then we can use our habits to work for us rather than against us. Here we will look into the behavior model and habit loop. 3 layers of behavior change. First one is outcomes-based, where we only focus on the outcomes we need to get, like we pay for supplements to reduce weight rather than working out. Second one is process-based, where we focus on the process that we follow to get desired outcome, like implementing workout routines to reduce weight. Third one is identity-based. This level is concerned with changing our beliefs, your worldview, your self-image, your judgments about yourself and others. Most of the beliefs, assumptions, and biases you hold are associated with this level, like you are imagining yourself as a bodybuilder rather than just losing weight. Research has shown that once a person believes in a particular aspect of their identity, they are more likely to act in alignment with that belief. Becoming the best version of yourself requires you to continuously edit your beliefs and to upgrade and expand your identity. How to change identity. 1. Decide the type of person you want to be. 2. Prove it to yourself with small wins. The real reason habits matter is not because they can get you better results, but because they can change your beliefs about yourself. Next, we will discuss about the habit loop. All habits can be explained using this habit loop. Cue, craving. Response, reward. Cue is the triggering stage. When you see a junk food or a mobile phone, etc., they will trigger neural paths in your brain. This develops a sense of urgency called craving, like feel of hunger, feel to check social media, etc. This is the problem phase, which cue plus craving. This compulsively makes us to act upon the solution to decrease the craving, so this generate a response like to eat or to check social media. This act will be rewarded to positively reinforce your habit. Like eating junk food increases glucose surge in your bloodstream, which makes you feel like energetic or rewarded. These collectively form a habit loop. But before jumping on the rules, let's quickly rewire our identity, reconsidering our beliefs. Small changes often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold. The most powerful outcomes of any compounding process are delayed. You need to forget about goals, focus on systems instead. Author says that if you're a coach, your goal might be to win a championship. Your system is the way you recruit players, manage your assistant coaches, and conduct practice. If you're an entrepreneur, your goal might be to build $1 million business. Your system is how you test product ideas, hire employees, and run marketing campaigns. But can we succeed if we neglect our goals? Now let's check some basic rules to build habits. First law is to make it obvious. As we discussed in the habit loop, cue triggers the neural paths to initiate the habit. The cues that can trigger a habit come in a wide range of forms. The feel of your phone buzzing in your pocket, the smell of chocolate chip cookies, the sound of ambulance sirens. But the two most common cues are time and location. Implementation intentions leverage both of these cues. So if you want to follow a habit, define most basic cues called time and location. Define it like I will behavior at time and location. But make it obvious and define only one at a time. Like if you are using your bedroom for both work and relaxing time, then slowly relaxing time will be dominant before you can even notice it. Design your environment for success, according to your needs, and make it ready for the future use right after you use it. Like when you wake up in the morning, make your bed right after you wake up. This makes it ready for future use and you can just forget about it. Ronan Byrne, an electrical engineering student in Dublin, Ireland, enjoyed watching Netflix, but he also knew that he should exercise more often than he did. Putting his engineering skills to use, Byrne hacked his stationary bike and connected it to his laptop and television. Then he wrote a computer program that would allow Netflix to run only if he was cycling at a certain speed. If he slowed down for too long, whatever show he was watching would pause until he started pedaling again. He was, in the words of one fan, eliminating obesity one Netflix binge at a time. He was also employing temptation bundling to make his exercise habit more attractive. Temptation bundling works by linking an action you want to do with an action you need to do. In Byrne's case, he bundled watching Netflix with riding his stationary bike. The habit stacking plus temptation bundling formula is, after current habit, I will do the habit need. Next on the list is third law. The third law of behavior changes make it easy. The most effective form of learning is practice, not planning. Focus on taking action, not being in motion. Habit formation is the process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. The amount of time you have been performing a habit is not as important as the number of times you have performed it. Human behavior follows the law of least effort. We will naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work. Create an environment where doing the right thing is as easy as possible. Reduce the friction associated with good behaviors. When friction is low, habits are easy. Increase the friction associated with bad behaviors. When friction is high, habits are difficult. Prime your environment to make future actions easier. Next on the list is that the fourth law of behavior changes make it satisfying. We are more likely to repeat a behavior when the experience is satisfying. The human brain evolved to prioritize immediate rewards over delayed rewards. The cardinal rule of behavior change: what is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. To get a habit to stick, you need to feel immediately successful, even if it's in a small way. This makes habits repetitive. Be consistent. Use habit trackers. Track a habit tracker is a simple way to measure whether you did a habit. The most basic format is to get a calendar and cross off each day you stick with your routine. For example, if you meditate on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, each of those dates gets an X as time rolls by. The calendar becomes a record of your habit streak. The habit stacking plus habit tracking formula is, after current habit, I will track my habit. Whenever something happens and you break the streak, it's okay, but try to remind yourself simple rule: never miss twice. How to maintain workflow. The Goldilocks rule states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. The greatest threat to success is not failure but boredom. As habits become routine, they become less interesting and less satisfying. We get bored. Anyone can work hard when they feel motivated. It's the ability to keep going when work isn't exciting that makes the difference. Professionals stick to the schedule. Amateurs let life get in the way. Habits plus deliberate practice equals mastery. The upside of habits is that we can do things without thinking. The downside is that we stop paying attention to little errors. Habits plus deliberate practice equals mastery. Reflection and review is a process that allows you to remain conscious of your performance over time. The tighter we cling to an identity, the harder it becomes to grow beyond it. These are the lessons we can use to develop good habits from the book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now let's conclude this discussion by a quick mind map. In this we focused on how to build good habits. First, we laid groundwork called fundamentals, where we cover 3 layers of behavior change and next habit loop. Next, we moved on to some basic laws, where first law is to make it obvious, second law is to make it attractive, third law is to make it easy, and at last fourth law is to make it satisfying. I hope this video helped you somehow and you enjoyed this discussion. Stay tuned for my next video. If you want the PDF notes for this discussion, check for it in the description. Signing off at the rate Infotech Pirates.